I was recently looking at the point of self-love and asking myself, do I actually love myself? Where part of me that is automated wants to be like, yes, well, of course I love myself. Then I was thinking about this question in relation to OCD and dermatillomania. And I came up with the answer that actually, in fact, if I did love myself for real, I wouldn't dare to do the things that I do to myself. I wouldn't dare harm myself or my physical body or take out my emotions onto myself in a destructive way. If I loved myself for real, that thought or movement wouldn't even come up in me. So what does that leave me with, and all of us with, is the simple and unfortunate fact that we do not actually, in fact, love ourselves. We have this twisted relationship with ourselves where OCD is actually how we're expressing, in a way, self-love. Now, bear with me here. The relationship I realized I had with myself was one of more self-judgment and self-punishment. And it has often been said that a disorder like dermatillomania, skin picking, is not a form of self-punishment and self-harm. It's actually a self-soothing. And I agree with that, but not in every single circumstance, because there are times where we do express self-punishment in skin picking. So it's not so black and white. Anyways, in looking at this point of having a relationship with self that is not based on self-love, but look at these dogs. It's not based on self-love, but it's based on self-judgment and self-punishment. And what I saw here was that what we tend to do to make ourselves feel better is to seek for that self-love, which can be seen as a grouping of self-acceptance, self-respect, self-honor, self-regard. We actually get these things from other people, and mostly from our romantic relationships. So what happens is that we will find people that accept us 100%, that love us, the good, the bad, the ugly, that respect us. But the problem here is that we're not actually giving these things to ourselves. We are seeking them from other people, and generally in romantic relationships. So what happens is that when we perceive that the person disrespects us, or in a moment seems to not accept us, or we question their love for us, it becomes a very dire and serious thing that we react to, because we depend on them fully for these things. So when they seem to not respect us in a moment, it's like all of our respect is gone, because we haven't actually created that for ourselves. It's actually kind of true. There is no respect there. You're going to react to that. And what happens is that we go into outbursts of anger at these people, or defensiveness, or hurt, like incredible hurt and pain. And we want to avoid at all costs ever having to go through any kind of realization that this person doesn't respect us or doesn't accept or love us. So what we will do is create and mold ourselves in such a way where we will never upset them. We will never do anything to lose their respect or their love or their acceptance. And that's how we mold ourselves into something other than who we actually are. We mold ourselves into what someone else would want us to be, because we depend on them for these things that honestly you cannot go through life without. I mean, if you don't respect yourself, love yourself, accept yourself, honor yourself, then you're going to go down a very consequential path in life, because there's too much temptation out there. There's too much points that we need to stand up within ourselves to face. And if we can't do that, then we're going to fall and, become, for example, consumed by OCD, dermatillomania, any mental disorder You have to have incredible inner strength to be able to walk these things in your life where you process them and work with them in such a way where it doesn't take you over, limit and diminish you, or in the worst case, consume you completely. So, in conclusion, what I wanted to say was that in realizing all of this, I have learned how to look at where I'm judging myself and look at where I'm punishing myself. And I mean, an example of this self-punishment for somebody with a mental disorder, with dermatillomania or OCD, is where you will, for example, hide yourself, exclude yourself from a situation. Like I mentioned, even the act itself is sometimes a self-punishment. For me, particularly, my big self-punishment was self-isolation. Like, I don't deserve to be around people or groups or, just kind of, I'm best just locked in my room alone or living my life alone. So I've learned how to identify the self-punishment, of which I just gave an example. I've learned how to identify the self-judgment that was causing me to want to punish myself, and have transformed that into a stand of making sure that when I make my decisions, what I'm going to do, who I'm going to be, even what I'm going to wear, what I'm going to eat, any decision that you make on a daily basis, or the bigger decisions, that those decisions are based on me and only me, and not to gain acceptance or validation, love, or respect from anyone outside myself. And it's been interesting because in taking that stand and making decisions for you, for yourself, what ends up happening is that a self-respect starts to form and emerge from that, a self-love, a self-acceptance, because all of a sudden, the outflows of your decisions and actions are actually best for you. Unlike if you make these decisions based on trying to get someone else's approval, in which case it's a self-compromise, and then leading to lack of self-respect and lack of self-acceptance because we know exactly what we're doing. So, just be careful about your romantic relationships and even friendships where it can be a comfort zone, where you're gaining things from people outside yourself that you're not actually giving yourself. And because you live in that comfort zone, you don't push yourself to actually make these types of decisions and changes because it's being fulfilled for you by someone else. But realize that another person can't actually do that for you. It will always slip and fall. And you'll be constantly going through these experiences of incredible pain, loss, disappointment, and self-punishment. So there's not really a choice in the end. I'm not saying break up with your friends or your partner. I'm just saying check yourself within the relationship and make sure you are actually pushing yourself to develop your own self-respect, your own self-acceptance, your own self-love. And in that way, you actually become a better person for your partner and a better person for yourself. So, check out my website. I am opening these points up more in writing and in courses. So just keep an eye on that space, and we'll cover more topics like this and in more detail. But in these videos, I just like to give a brief overview and just point out the points so that we can become aware of them. The actual intricacies of walking through them. And, if you want to get really serious about taking this on and really making the changes in your life, then you can delve into the website to dig a little bit deeper. Okay, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.